Marine Man. So I thought I'd talk a little boxing. All right, so we are just a little bit under 3 weeks away from the pay-per-view showdown for Undisputed Supremacy 135 between Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. Man, the 20th cannot come soon enough. I'm looking forward to heading out to Las Vegas to cover this fight. They got a lot of fights coming up, the next couple of weeks. I think it's a fight card every week this month, or almost every week this month. I know you have Canelo this week. Then next week is Genovic. Then, of course, the week after that is Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. Also, I think it's another fight coming up like the following week. And then you got Teofimo versus Josh Taylor coming up in June. Looking forward to that fight. So, looking at Devin Haney's training, I like what I see so far. I kind of know what the game plan is, but I don't want to say what the game plan is, but I'll put it to you this way: you're going to see a different Devin Haney in this fight. Devin knows what's at stake, and Devin wants to put on a great performance. He wants to be just as impressive as Tank was versus Ryan Garcia, because at the end of the day, he going to put himself in a position where the fans are going to demand eventually a showdown between him and Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson and Ryan Garcia somewhere down the line. Ryan Garcia has already said he's going to campaign at 140. He basically can't wait, to go up to 140 because he can't make the weight anymore. Then, not to mention all the controversy surrounding him. So, it is what it is. I wanted to talk about Canelo versus John Ryder because it appears that nobody seems to be really talking about that fight. Whether you like Canelo or not, a few years ago, when Canelo was fighting, you would be talking about Canelo. You would be making a lot of videos about Canelo's upcoming fight. But, Canelo, the past few fights, even with Bivol, people wasn't getting up and getting excited about Canelo fighting these type of dudes. Now, he happened to lose to Bivol because a lot of people thought that the Bivol fight wasn't going to be on the up and up. And to a certain degree, based off the scoring, it wasn't on the up and up, where they had Bivol winning that fight. I think all three judges had Bivol winning that fight 7-5. And I think two of the three judges gave Canelo the first 3 rounds. No, gave Canelo the first 4 rounds, which was absurd. You can make a stern argument and a firm argument that Canelo may at best only have won 3 rounds. You would be generous to say that he won 4 rounds in that fight. He got thoroughly dominated, but at the end of the day, it's always some weird stuff when Canelo fights. And this is why I think a lot of times people sort of don't see Canelo as an all-time great. They don't see him as a pound-for-pound fighter. They don't see him as the face of boxing. Yeah, Canelo makes a lot of money per fight, but at the end of the day, has he really been that dude? Because I've never really looked at Canelo as the face of boxing. It's just one of them situations where you get mainstream media people and they'll sit up here and demand, and they'll say that Canelo is the face of boxing, and you supposed to be like, oh, okay, I agree, which you don't have to agree. Just like I've been saying for years, if you don't think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player that ever lived, that's your right. You can make an argument that is Kareem. You can make an argument that is Wilt Chamberlain. You make an argument that is Bill Russell. You don't have to agree with mainstream media when they say Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. You could think the greatest player of all time, whoever you think it is. If you think Larry Bird is the greatest player of all time. But yeah, that's how I always saw it with Canelo. I never thought Canelo was the face of boxing. And if you look at his opponent's selection, that really tells you that he's not the face of boxing. Canelo has been very careful and calculating on who he selected to fight. And the thing with Bivol, it just went terribly wrong. And Canelo made excuse after excuse why he lost. And it got to the point to where Bivol was like, okay, well, I'll fight you at 168 for all your titles. Now you hear hesitation on the lack of, on the end of Canelo. So now you have to wonder, okay, is Canelo going to really fight Bivol again? Because the walls are closing in on Canelo. Should he go to David Benavidez route, or should he, fight Bivol? But then you hearing all this crazy stuff that's going on with Bivol about if he fights Arthur Beterbiev, they'll strip Arthur Beterbiev of one of his titles, which I think is the WBC, which I don't even know why the WBC is getting even involved in something like that with the whole situation with Russia and Ukraine. I don't even know why they trying to call themselves making a political stance, because at the end of the day, they just a sanctioning body. They just organization that basically appoints people titles and makes some title lists, depending on who they fight and how they rank them. So I'm just wondering why they even getting involved in something like this. They shouldn't even be getting involved in something like this, and that's just real talk. It just seemed just kind of lame. Seemed weird. Just seemed like it don't make no sense. Just like I'm trying to figure out why is it raining in May, but whatever. Just trying to make sense of that, but whatever. It just don't seem like people are getting up. Even Canelo fans don't seem to be motivated by this fight. And if you look at Canelo, he don't seem to be motivated by this fight. I'm seeing pictures of Canelo taking side-by-side pictures with John Ryder. Even he looked like, man, why am I even here? Now, do I think Canelo is going to show up to fight? Of course he is. He got to. Canelo cannot afford to have another hiccup like he did with Bivol. Because if he does, then Canelo's going to be in trouble. And that's all I got to say. But I think he'll beat Ryder. I don't know how he's going to beat him. I think he'll outpoint him. I think Canelo will win. I think Canelo will win a lopsided unanimous decision, or he may get a late stoppage. But I think Canelo is going to win this fight. I don't think he's really going to struggle against somebody like Ryder. That's why he selected Ryder to fight. Because Canelo in his last couple of outings, he just didn't, he just underperformed. He fought Triple G for the third time, and he was talking about he was going to stop Triple G. He didn't come nowhere near close to stopping Triple G. Now, he dominated Triple G, but at the end of the day, Triple G is in his 40s. And not making any excuses in caving for Triple G, because I am not a Triple G fan. I am not a Triple G fan based off how much ducking Triple G did. So, I'm just saying, Canelo was supposed to stop Triple G, and he couldn't even do that. And then, as you guys know what happened with him and Bivol, it's coming up on a year since Canelo took that one-sided ass whooping to Bivol. Because Canelo got beat down in that fight. And as I said before, had Bivol been a little bit more aggressive and he turned on the heat, he might have would have got the stoppage of Canelo. So, But yeah, I I just think there's no interest in this fight, and people ain't even really checking for this fight. Now, keep in mind, going into Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, it was a lot of buzz. And like I said, no matter what you think of the fight, whether you think the fight lived up to expectations or it went exactly how you thought it would go, and basically to a certain degree it was a bit of a con. And I'm not hating on Tank, but like I said before, I knew how that fight was gonna go. It was no surprise. How could anybody had not thought that Ryan Garcia was gonna make it the full 12 rounds? That's why they put him in the ring with Tank, because it was damn near a guaranteed knockout. And Ryan Garcia pretty much admitted that he quit because he didn't want it anymore. And now Tank is looking at, from what reports are saying, that he may get back in the ring as early as maybe September, or he may get back in there September, October, and he may fight Isaac Cruz, which, by the way, Tank is gonna stretch him, because Tank gonna have two good hands, and Cruz is gonna get stretched. Everybody thinking that Cruz really did something versus Tank. I mean, if you really understood what happened to Tank, Tank hurt one of his hands. Had Tank had both of his hands, for real, Cruz would have got knocked out just like anybody else. And that's what's gonna happen to Cruz in the rematch. Cruz is gonna get knocked out. He gonna get knocked out. The boys gonna get stretched. Okay. Had Tank had two good hands, Cruz wouldn't have even have made it to the 12th round. Tank beat him, and for people that's thinking that Tank lost that fight, you out of your damn mind. Tank beat him with one hand. And I'm just laughing at the fact that people actually think that Cruz won that fight. Some people. But if you want to be delusional and think that Cruz won that fight, then more power to you. But he didn't win that fight. But that's next up for Tank. I wouldn't bank on Tank fighting Shakur Stevenson anytime soon. Like I said, unless their hand is forced. But at the end of the day, Tank, he better do something, because eventually, if Tank go the Floyd Mayweather route where he just continue to fight a whole bunch of Hispanics, and particularly Mexicans, I think people gonna get hip to that. And I think they're gonna get hip to that real quick. Now, I mean, if you want to, Tank gonna have to fight some brothers. I know you may count Rolly. Rolly's mother is black. His father is Spanish, though. Rolly's mother, I seen Rolly's mother. Rolly's mother is a light-skinned black lady, but his mother is black. But Rolly got a Hispanic last name, though. He got a Hispanic last name, so that's kind of like, on the, I don't know, man. I'm looking at Cruz and then Rolly. It's like a repeat cycle. You want to see Tank try some different things, but this is what the PBC is known for doing. And I hope this doesn't, run thin with Tank, but it looked like it could, because like I said, people gonna get hip to that. And I don't think we're going for that again. We're not gonna see the second coming of Floyd Mayweather. I don't want to see that. I want to see Tank be in some competitive fights, not where it's a 70-30 advantage for Tank, where you just think it's a 70-30 chance that Tank. I want to see Tank in a real fight. I want to see him in a fight where there's a distinct possibility that he can lose. And as of right now, Devin Haney and Shakur is the two biggest threats to him. And if he moves up to 140, and depending on what happens with Josh Taylor, you got to think of Josh Taylor being a threat, or Regis. I think in most fights, Tank would probably be a slight favorite, but still, you want to see, and that's just basically it. And it's not that you're trying to put him down and anything like that, but you just don't want to see history repeat itself again. You don't want to see Tank doing what Floyd Mayweather was doing. So I just wanted to put that out there. But like I said, I'm getting real excited about the Devin Haney-Lomachenko fight. I can't wait to go to Vegas to cover this fight. Like I said, I'm excited about this fight. I think if Devin Haney wins impressively versus Lomachenko, this could open up a lot of doors for him. You know, this could lead to a lot of different things for him. Eventually, like I said, if Devin keeps on winning, Shakur keeps on winning, all three of these dudes, they're going to have to fight. They own a collision course. And as long as it ain't no interference, all these fights can happen. Really, they really can happen. You just don't want to hear this, well, they with this promotional company and I'm with that promotional company. You just don't want to hear that no more, and ain't nobody going for it. But anyway, thank you guys for tapping in. I'm out.